Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Kyle, you've had a really busy morning, man. I don't think you're going to get to stop today, so
yeah.
You should just let me handle that.
You can
just sit back and relax.
I'll just sit back and relax. You handle the rest of it. After last night, we got our shoe check.
The shoes?
Yeah, we got Jordan 3s. What are these called?
These are the Nike Adapt BB self-lacing shoes. So
this is like the Back to the Future show. Yeah,
Absolutely.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Sneakerheads. What do you want us to do?
I'm a developing sneakerhead. I'm trying to get there. So, Zach, I'll get you some shoes in the mail, my man. Breakfast was great, by the way.
It smelled good.
It's really good.
Hey, save me some breakfast.
I can hear the people in the kitchen, and they're like just eating. They're diving into that food that I've already touched, getting COVID. So
listen, we're going to spend some time talking to all you marketing coordinators out there. Maybe it's the doctor, maybe it's a spouse in a lot of practices, but we really want to dive deep, help you develop a marketing plan for this year, and we've got some really great tips, so you're going to want to enjoy this one.
Yeah, so this I think will be good for, again, like you said, marketing coordinators, but really anyone that handles marketing in your practice, which I would argue should be more people, not fewer people, because I think there's different ways to help, and I think marketing is, it's the lifeline of your practice. So because we're covering so much, we've created this PDF. It's like a really awesome, like long PDF on this marketing coordinator masterclass, and it's also sort of like a 12-month marketing plan. So whether you want to work with me on Canvas, or you work with someone else, or you want to do it all on your own, you can see kind of like, look inside the box of our secrets and see what are the different categories that we focus on when we work with a client, and you can do it yourself. So if you want to go download this and maybe follow along, it's at neoncanvas.com/audit. That's AUDIT, audit. While you're there, you can also receive a free digital marketing audit. This is not some automated piece of crap that we churn out in 2 seconds. This is a detailed, custom crafted report. It takes about an hour that has a technical review of your website, a summary of the search behavior in your geographical area, and an analysis of the practices that surround you. So go download that. It's a free PDF. If you want to do the audit, great. That's also free, but it's neoncanvas.com/audit. You should be looking at it right now. Okay, so let's jump in. We've got, I think, 9 different areas.
Yeah, we're going to hit them all. And I think, Kyle, that's exactly what you're talking about when multiple people in your practice should be working on your marketing. It's the exact same theory with our business, where we've got multiple team members who are tackling that. And so, the first thing you've got to do when you're figuring out your marketing spend is you got to set a budget for it. We recommend 6%. The Small Business Administration recommends 7 to 8%. And, a lot of CEOs will be talking about, marketing guys and CEOs will be talking about up to 10%. Wow. We put the number at 6% because you don't want it so low that you're not investing in your business. But you don't want it so high that it's messing with your margins either. So we feel like for orthodontists, 6% is a really nice place to be. That's the first place. We're not just pulling that number out of thin air. I've kind of given you the stats of why we think that is. If you will invest, and that's the number, you're not spending it and throwing it against the wall like some accountants think you are. You're investing your marketing to get a return on that investment.
Yeah, and I think if you don't have a budget, it probably means that you don't have a plan, or you're just sort of scattershot. Exactly. And I think that's what you see in a lot of practices, especially once they reach a certain level of success. They sort of stop being as strategic about marketing, we got patients coming in. But then that's when you start to plateau, or when you start to shrink. And so you have to be doing these things and keeping up on these things, or someone's going to come and knock you off the top of the mountain. So so that's number one, set your budget. Number 2 is traditional marketing. And so I think this is usually what most orthodontists think of when they think of marketing. And when they think, I think specifically of a marketing coordinator, it's stuff like deliveries and flyers and traditional ads.
Right.
And these are not unimportant things, but there's a lot more, I think, to the modern orthodontic marketing coordinator than just this stuff.
Right.
Using a design program to make a flyer. And look what I made. It hangs up in the practice. Now, we do help with this. How does Neon help with this?
Well, it's really simple for our clients. They just fill out a form, let us know exactly what they need. It doesn't matter if it's a billboard, if it's a flyer like Dr. Kyle's talking about. The key is that it's going to be on brand. It's going to look and feel and give those emotions that you want to give people when they're looking at your marketing. You want those feelings of trust. You want everything to look and feel the same and be on brand. Otherwise, it is scattered and it doesn't look cohesive, and people start to not trust your brand.
Yeah, right. And so I think, there's a lot of options for how you get on-demand design stuff. That's not, I think, what makes Neon Canvas or any other digital marketing company, because you can get those, you can outsource to like Design Pickle and all this kind of stuff. The problem is that you're going to get what you pay for.
That's right.
And we'll hammer on direct-to-consumer aligner systems, and then we'll turn around and then like send off to 99 Designs for our logo. It's like, what are you doing? And so it's nice to have a company that knows your brand and that can increasingly speak to that in an organic way as they get to know you better. And so I think that's also really important. And as I said, this is important. Like, you should, yes, do like the little yearbook ads for the Susie who comes in. Like, that's important from an internal marketing perspective, although it may never create a patient. But in certain markets, radio can be great, TV can be great if you want to do that. Billboards can be great. The difference is with traditional marketing, it's scattershot in the sense that you never really know how much money you make back from it. And so the return on digital marketing is super measurable, which to me makes it powerful. And when you're trying to decide what that budget needs to be, I know what a 6% of your budget into digital will produce. I don't know what 6% of a budget will do with newspaper and billboard and TV and radio. I mean, it's anyone's guess.
Yeah.
And so, it's cheaper on the digital side too. So
it is. And when we're setting that up for a client, we want that to be a part of the mix. I don't want you to ever say no to those branding and sponsorship opportunities in your community that resonate to who you are, that show your love for the community. I think that's really important, but I want the biggest chunk of your marketing going somewhere that I can turn around and show you exactly how many patients you brought in from that dollar.
Right.
I think that's really important.
So we had number 1, set your budget. Number 2, traditional marketing. Number 3.
Yeah, branding and brand management. And so we've teed this up perfectly. But one of the first things that we do when you come to Neon Canvas is we look at your total brand. And your brand is not just your logo and your mark, although that's very important. It's your colors, it's your slogan. There's so many, your font types, there's so many things that can be involved with branding that you have to make sure that you've got someone looking at every single one of those aspects for you. So we look at that logo. If it's a logo that maybe you did on 99 Designs, or a friend did, or maybe you did it 10 or 15 years ago and it's ready to be refreshed, we also see new doctors buying into practices, and so they've got to find a way to rebrand it that way. We see a lot of other people who have growth ideas, and maybe they've stuck their brand to a location, and they figure, well, how am I going to grow in this other city with this brand stuck to a location? So there's all these different factors that could be going on with your brand that would cause you to need to be able to have a brand expert look at that, go through that branding process with you. That's looking at logos, looking at fonts, looking at types, and deciding what is going to be the future of your marketing moving forward. And then once you've got that all set up, you've got it ready to go, then we can start marketing your practice with new websites, with flyers, with cups, with all the swag that you want to get out in t-shirts and different things. And that's another part of that brand management when you think about the t-shirts is, I think Chris Feldman was telling us yesterday that he added it up and he's got 14,000 t-shirts out there in the community. And which is an incredible thing. So if you've got that many people wearing your t-shirts and you've got them out in the community in that manner, you want them invoking feelings that are going to be memorable, that are going to make people trust you and make them want to do business with you. I think that's super, super important when it comes to brand management. Yeah. And that's all things that Neon Canvas does. We've done a lot of it for Saddle Creek, and you guys are really great at managing your brand. I think one of the coolest things I think Kyle has done with brand management is for the Germantown Football League. So it's a football league that's here in town. Saddle Creek Ortho became the official sponsor, and on every jersey in the football league there was a crest that was made, and it was a logo-looking crest on the sleeve that said Saddle Creek Orthodontics on it. So it was their brand matched perfectly with the football league to activate that sponsorship. And not only did every single kid in Germantown playing football wear Kyle's brand around all season, they also all came into the office, got into their systems, got a free mouth guard. You know who they are. They're signing up for the kids club. This stuff is going to pay off dividends in the future, and you have to make sure that it's solidified in a way that's not just slapping your logo on something or taking a black and white version of it and just hoping it looks good. Here's my business card. Put it in the program for the theater. No, don't do that. Send it to somebody perfect. Send it to somebody to make it perfect.
Like our theater ad, it has a kid that's like at the theater curtain, like embarrassed to smile, in a play or something. Like it's customized to that. It fits that. It stands out. And then the football logo on the jerseys, it has a little football. It kind of look, they're little footballs. Ace Ventura. It looks like an NFL logo or something. So it's really cool. And so of course Neon did that and spit it out in a day or something. So I think also when you talk about like understanding the specialization of things, and so when you have a team with we've got 7 or 8 pockets in our office where there's different specialists, and now we have not just one, but we have 2 or 3. But Kurt he does a lot of our brands and logos. He's very good at it. You walk into his office, and on every wall it is design, and every book is like a book on just fonts or classic ad styles and stuff like that. So you're talking about an expert. This is like all he thinks about. This is what he eats and sleeps and drinks, and that's what you want, when you're going to have somebody handle your brand. So we have had set your budget. We've had traditional marketing, branding, and brand management, all important things. Let's shift on into web design. So once you have your brand in place, it speaks for you. You have your colors, your font. You have basically your identity that people can read about you before they even meet you, which is a huge deal. It's their first impression truly with you. We talked about the admin being first impression. Really, your brand is your first impression.
That's exactly right.
And then oftentimes, someone goes to Google, and maybe they've seen you on social media, or they've seen little bits and pieces about you, but that zero moment when they go onto Google, and that's what they call it, where they say, you know what, it is time for me to get braces. The dentist keeps telling me about it, and Susie needs braces. And they go into Google and they type in, I need to get braces for my 12-year-old girl in Memphis, Tennessee, or whatever. Usually a long tail search or whatever for the best price or whatever. And then things are going to pop up. We'll talk about how we get you there. But then they go to your website, and they probably go to 2 or 3 more websites. How are you going to win that race if your website is a piece of junk? It's going to be tough. Okay, so it becomes a race effectively between different cars lined up, and they're going to pick the one that speaks to them. And it's also going to be that they pick the one that they can click through and schedule something pretty easily. So we have with Neon Canvas, just to throw it out there, I think some people think of us as like a very expensive company, and certainly we can come up with a plan that is expensive relatively, however it's going to return. We can also do things like Neon Now. We have quick, semi-custom, less expensive websites, something that's going to produce for you and be more customizable than, let's say, a Squarespace or one of those kind of like quicker websites, or Wix or something. Or you can go full boutique, fully custom. We spend 120, 130 hours on building this thing, coming out to your practice, customizing all that content, and then we just call that Neon Canvas. The price is going to be a little bit higher, but we can do either ones. But the big thing about the website, and we'll keep this short, is a website is not supposed to just be like a billboard. It's not just supposed to be this like beautiful thing to show off and talk about how awesome you are. It is supposed to do one thing, and you know what that is? Convert
patients.
Convert patients.
Yes.
Convert leads into prospective patients. And so if your website is not converting, what's the point of it? And so there should be multiple points on that website where it can convert. Okay?
That's exactly right, yeah. And something about Neon Now, Kyle mentioned that's a lighter product. We were able to build that product and offer it at a lighter price point and get it out as quickly as can, because we spent 2 years developing it, right? Yeah. We knew that this was a piece of the market that needed to be served, but ultimately that's the stepping stone to get a return on that investment and move into more market share and more branding that's going to continue to make you the lion in the market, if that's your goal.
Which we do with everything else in business. Like when I started my practice, I didn't have 12 chairs. I had 4. And I was plumbed for 2 more. So you do it gives us the opportunity to get someone who's starting the practice. A lot of our startup clients use Neon Now, and then they'll shift on into Neon Canvas. Okay, so we talked about budget, we talked about traditional marketing, we talked about brand management, web design, and now social media.
And this is a tricky one, because a lot of people come to you and they say, oh, will you post for me on social media? Will you post on Facebook? Will you post on Instagram for me? I don't want to do it. Well, the minute that you hire a company in Memphis, Tennessee to post for your business in Manhattan or Chicago, Illinois, it's not social anymore, right? It's not authentic to who you are if you've got somebody else doing it for you. Yeah. So the way that we really like to handle social media is we want to come up with it's the 1080-10 principle that you use all the time. We want to do the guts of the work, right? We want to come up with a publishing calendar for you. We want to help you write captions. We want to create the graphics for you. Ultimately, we want you to hit send and for you to be the one interacting and being social with your patients, with your team, with your staff, with your community, so that you've got a real authentic story to tell. Use Neon Canvas to support those efforts, right? And so when we send you that calendar, you've got 30 different ideas. What I'd like you to do is sit down with those 30 different ideas, circle the 8 or 9 that resonate with you. Hey, we're going to celebrate birthdays. We're going to celebrate some debonding days. We love our admins. We're going to celebrate admin day. There's plenty of things that are going to be on that publishing calendar that will resonate with you that you can make great social content out of. And then you come back to us and say, okay, here are the 12 things. We'll know exactly the content that we need to gather. We'll write the captions. We'll work with you to make your social great. And here's why social media is important. All of these things work together to prove to not only Google and search engines, but also to users that you are who you say you are. So if you say that you care about the community and you're this great orthodontist and you're creating all the smiles, and they go to social media and they don't see any community involvement, they don't see great smiles, they don't see any patients, they don't see what's going on in your office, they start to not really believe that you are who you say you are. So social media will do that for you. It will immediately give you credibility that you are who you say you are, because it's real, it's there. And then if it's great engaging content, people are going to continue to stay engaged with you. You built your practice on social media and digital marketing, and now it's something that you just have to maintain. It's not something that you have to necessarily use to grow your practice. It's not necessarily an ROI activity for Dr. Kyle. It's a image activity for him. It's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and I think it can be like a source of ROI, but it's, I think, increasingly difficult to actually accomplish it as such. And so I think at a certain level of practice, I'm happy to let the other sources, which we'll talk about, be the source of patients. And the social media is just to help to kind of like secure that image of our brand in the mind of the potential patient. You got SEO, and then you've got content marketing, which is basically like writing content that a search engine wants to see on a website that also patients want to see. And so that's what raises you up, because Google ultimately wants to serve websites that people are asking for.
Right.
And so those are very much connected. So we'll move on to the last two. It's going to be complete ad management, and then also the big picture, which you'll get to. But with ad management, it's as simple as this. I like to think of a bathtub, and you can fill the bathtub quicker by turning on more faucets, as it were. Okay. Or if you're on a fishing boat, you can cast more lines if you want. And we had some fishing earlier today.
Caught a few.
Yeah, you caught a few maybe. And so you can throw multiple lines, or you can throw one line. Well, you're going to catch more fish if you throw more. And so with ads, you want to have as many different ad sources as you can, but you also want to be pushing to a website that's done well with good branding. And then also you want that organic search that comes from good SEO and good content marketing. So here's some examples of some clients just to give you from March of this year. We have client A and we have client B. Client A is aggressive spending. They spent $3,700, so it's $126 a day, and that resulted in 841 clicks, 222 conversions, which are phone calls or appointment requests, lead form fills. And the cost per conversion on this, again, $3,700 spend, but just $16 a conversion, which is really good. And you think about the margins we have as orthodontists, let's say conservatively you're going to make $2,000, let's just say, on a case, and you spent $16 to generate it. Obviously you won't close all these, but I'll take it.
All day.
Yeah.
Every day.
If 25% of these close, what does that return? It's a lot.
It's a significant amount of money.
And so then client B, conservative spend, maybe based on your budget or the size of your practice, maybe this is what you do, $331 spent. So in 2 days, the aggressive spender spent the same that the conservative spender did in a month, and it still resulted, though, in 50 clicks, 13 conversions, and the cost per conversion was $27.
Yeah. Okay,
and so what you'll see is as you spend more, your cost per conversion typically will go down, assuming that there's saturation potential. So let's go on to the last thing and we'll wrap up, the big picture.
Yeah, so again, working with Neon Canvas, just like we talked about earlier, is like getting 10 of the best experts you could possibly get in any specific field in advertising and marketing and putting them on your team. We integrate with your team to a level that we truly feel like we're a part of the team. We're integral to the team. You can ask any of our clients, the 160 plus orthodontists in over 40 states that we work with, if they feel like Neon Canvas is a part of their team. I bet you they hear from us more than they hear from any other vendor around. So we know that we can give you what you need to be the most dominant orthodontic practice in your area. There's no doubt about that. We've got tons of case studies to show that, and we're always focused on that return on investment. Like Dr. Kyle was just spitting out these numbers. I was doing some quick math, 44 cases at $5,000 a case, or on $3,000 to spend. I mean, your ROI on that is 15, 16 times. Same thing with the $331 spent. So as always, get in touch with us. Go to neoncanvas.com, fill out a form. We'd love to talk to you. And we hope that your practice continues to grow and that you got a lot of great activity out of just this.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're a marketing coordinator and your task is to try and get new patients in your practice, the point of this is that, yeah, all the stuff you're currently doing is great, but there is sort of a next level, and the next level after that of what you can do to bring new patients into your practice. And anyone can do this stuff working with our team. If you want this 12-month marketing plan, it's on neoncanvas.com/audit. You can also do an audit there, which is a free digital marketing audit. It's customized. You'll learn about your surrounding area, and you'll get a lot of value out of that. We even do like a 1-hour call to kind of work through that. Again, it is free, and so I think you'll enjoy it. Our next interview is going to be with Dr. Stuart Frost and Dr. Nicole Wax. We're going to talk team culture and the morning huddle, but first we have a quick commercial break.